Hello everyone and welcome to my coloring corner. Today is Fun Stuff Friday and I've got a couple of different things that we're going to play with today. First of all, I received the Karismacolor 72 color pencil set from Japan, and we will be going through that and looking at the boxes, looking at the pencils, as well as looking at the swatch chart and the swatch and all that fun stuff that we normally do with new pencils. But first, before we do, I got a wonderful little random act of kindness surprise. Um, if you are a part of the Facebook group, and if you are not a part of the Facebook group, please join the Facebook group. But if you are a part of the Facebook group, you'll know about our Random Act of Kindness album. And in the Random Act of Kindness album, in the comment section, we have the ask that people list their um, wish lists in that album, and randomly people will anonymously, and you must be anonymous, send out a random act of kindness. I love Matchstick Mouse. I think it is the absolutely most adorable little mouse book ever. It's done by Morgan O'Brien, and he is just an absolutely fantastic artist for these little creatures. Um, this is the autumn coloring book. I have the Halloween coloring book as well, but this was the autumn coloring book that was sent to me. And he is just so cute. And we'll do a quick little flip through of Matchstick Mouse. I would like to say thank you very much to the anonymous person that sent me this wonderful little book. And of course, make sure that you send out a random act of kindness to somebody unsuspecting, because it's just brings a smile to everybody's face. If you haven't already put your album or your wish list in the album, you are welcome to do so. I must remind you all that you're not guaranteed to receive something if you put your wish list in the album. It isn't there for I must have, please buy me type things. It is there so that people can send out just a little bit of joy in this somewhat joyous world that we live in. That's one of the reasons why we color, is to bring joy to our lives. So that is what the random act of kindness is just a little smile that that you can bring to somebody's face. And it's this book just makes me gleam because it's just so cute. Like that. I'm sorry. It's a little mouse and a little bat, but they're just the cutest little things ever. There's a little bat. Look, little mousy holding up a flower over the birdies. I don't know if it's raining, but now of course this is on Amazon paper, so you will have to test your pencils to see which ones work best on them. Or if you are going to use markers on them, make sure that you put a blotter page behind your page. Otherwise, you will end up with bleed through onto the next page. Of course, you're going to get bleed through on the original page no matter what you put behind it. But putting a thick piece of cardstock behind it will stop your bleed through from going through onto the next page. Make sure it's a thick piece of cardstock, otherwise it will bleed through that too. Like if you were to use, say, a piece of printer paper, it's going to bleed right through that onto your next page. So just make sure it's a little bit of cardstock. So cute. Playing hide and seek. He has a stick. He's marching with the bugs and the worms. That's awesome. Ah, I didn't notice that. That is so cute. Absolutely adorable. Putting the little owl chick back in its nest, probably. Oh, sweet treats before bed. That's what I'm going to say it is. I'm not going to say it's a snail. I'm just going to say it's a cinnamon roll. Yeah. Oh, look at that. It's so cute. He's knitting little things. It's adorable. That is so cute. Love it. Nope. Shoveling the leaves with a fork. That works. Oh, so those are all the seed pods for a maple tree, and he's got a maple leaf and or a maple seed, and he's propellering down. And when they fall off the tree, they act like a little propeller. So that's cute. Uh, and that is the end of this little Matchstick Mouse book. Absolutely adorable. Again, thank you so much to the wonderful person that provided this random act of kindness. I appreciate it so much, and it was a wonderful surprise and a wonderful smile in a fairly bleak day yesterday when I got it. So, thank you so much. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you all. So, again, if you're not a part of the Facebook group, make sure that you join us over on Facebook. Um, and if you aren't a part of the Random Act of Kindness album, make sure that you take a look at it. And if it's not something that you want to do, then by all means, you are welcome to opt out. But if it is something that you want to do, just place your Amazon wish list in the album. There is instructions in there how to do that. And maybe one day you'll get a random act of kindness. All right, guys, that is the first wonderful thing that came yesterday. Now for these pencils. Okay, so these are the Karismacolor pencils. I have them in my pencil holder because I don't like the box. The boxes for them are kind of cool, but I don't find them very useful. They are a little difficult to open, and then when you do open them, if you're not careful, you're going to end up dumping all your pencils out. So when you open them, so you open it like this, and then you have to stand it up like this. And then you bring your piece forward like this. Don't put it all the way in. Put it to the edge and then open up your, oh, see what I mean? Open up the parts, and the parts will slip right down the side of the box. And then you have a little area. However, the pencils, when they're in here, are quite loose. So they are a little difficult to get in and out. It's just a thick cardboard covered with a vinyl, and they're a little higgly-piggly, and I don't like higgly-piggly. So I will show you what it looks like when you have your pencils in here. When you get them, they're not sharpened. So I have sharpened my pencils. So I'm going to be putting them sharp side up so that I don't damage the tip of my pencil in the flat area below. There is nothing in there protecting the leads of your pencil. So I'm going to fill this area completely full the way that it was when I received it, just to show you how difficult it is to get the pencils out of this. Okay, so that's completely full. So in order to get your pencil out, you have to pull it forward and slide it out. If you just try to slide it out, it's not going to come out. So you're constantly grabbing the tip of your pencil or the back of your pencil, which in turn puts pressure on the tip of your pencil like this when you're trying to pull it out. So either which way, I just don't like it. And I, of course, have my pencil holder that my husband made, and that's much more preferable to me. So that's what I have them in right now. I will be putting them in a bag um, after the video, of course, because it's just easier to store them that way. So the box that they come in, like I said, it's a really neat box. It's a wonderful idea, but it's not very practical. And if it's not practical, it's not usable, in my opinion. So I'm going to put these pencils back. Let's close this up. And like I said, it's a really cute box, and I will be putting it away to keep it because it is a cute box. And it comes, the whole 72 set comes in 2 different boxes, which I think is a little bit overkill as well. All right, so the pencils themselves, let's put these back in order here. And if you are a Karismacolor person, you're going to enjoy these pencils because um, they are, well, we'll get more into that after this swatch. All right, so let's start off with looking at the pencils themselves. Switch you over to the close-up camera here and remove the Karismacolor boxes because they're useless. So on the pencil you have a gold box that has your writing in it. The writing, of course, is the color of the barrel. And I have chosen probably the worst one to do this with. So let's choose a different one that's a little bit darker. This one here might be a little bit better. Yeah. So we've got the Karismacolor logo there. We've got our color name in French, our color number, and our color name in English. And the barrels seem very straight, very well covered. They are fairly well centered, and it looks like a very good, nice core. While sharpening these, I did use, for the most part, either the Tikal or the Prismacolor sharpener. Now, I did find as my sharpener got full that the leads broke. So I've got this on 3, which I have been told is the perfect sharpen for a Prismacolor, and it seems to work fairly well. However, I do see a little bit of tearing on there, so it may be my sharpeners. My sharpener may be a little bit dull. Let's see if I can find a new sharpener. Can't remember where I put the sharpeners. Let's see. I think they're, nope, that's not them. Okay, so let's see. I've got my, let's try this one here. Let's try the tri-level sharpener here, which the smallest one is usually best for prisms. So I'm going to, I need the lid. Alright, so I've got the lid here from my sharpener holder. So we've got the smallest one here, which should just sharpen the tip, which gives a good sharpen. And then we've got this one here, which will sharpen the tip as well as the wood. and it sharpened quite nicely. But this one here is used by a lot of people for Prisma, just to sharpen down the lead instead of just the wood. Then you can peel the wood back a little bit, like that. But the best one for the Prisma sharpen is supposed to be the number 3 of the Tagal. Another one that we have is my Bullet. And I don't like this sharpener very much. I have tendencies to break pencils in this sharpener. So it works fairly well too. Now the wood feels much denser than the wood on a Prisma, so you will notice that. Now the reason why I'm comparing this to a Prismacolor is I did some research, and Karismacolor is the brand name of Prismacolors in Japan. So basically, Karismacolor is owned by Prismacolor. The company name is owned by Prismacolor. And they have outsourced it or leased it to a third-party seller in Japan. This information does come from some digging around that Sarah Renee Clark did. And of course, we all know her in the coloring community as a very reliable source of information. So I have done some research on them, and I have found the same information that she did. She has compiled it quite well together, and I will try to link her little blog information about the Karismacolors and about fake Prismas and all that sort of stuff in the description below the video. But basically what she found out and what I've found out with the research I've done is that in Japan they don't have Prismacolors. In Japan they have Karismacolor. Now Karismacolor is what the original, one of the original Prismacolors was called. So if you're trying to purchase a vintage Karismacolor, these are not a vintage Karismacolor. These are a brand new manufactured Karismacolor. And like I said, they are out of Japan. I did order them off of Amazon Japan, which I will put the link for below as well. You can purchase these on eBay, but they are way more expensive on eBay. A lot of the eBay sellers are trying to sell these as a vintage Karismacolor. And in my opinion, they are not a vintage Karismacolor. I do find that they are a lot easier to sharpen than, say, the Karismacolor. I don't have the original Karismacolor, but I have used the original Sanford Prismacolor, and that's what these are. What these are formulated as. So they are the same formulation and the same licensing as the original Sanford Prismacolors. Alright, so I have swatched these, so I will go through the swatch. Grab your cup of coffee, sit back and relax, and we will go through the swatch. It'll take about 3 or 4 minutes. And when we come back, I'll do some testing on the swatch chart as well as some comparison between the Prismacolor from Mexico and the Karismacolor from Japan. Alright, so grab your coffee, sit back, relax. I will be right back. All right, so that wasn't so bad. All right, so I'm going to switch you over to the close-up camera here so you can see the colors. Now, as you can probably tell, if you are a Prismacolor junkie, one that knows your Prismas very, very well, the names and numbers of the Karismacolors are the same as the Prismacolors. So I have gone through my Prismacolor chart directly from Prismacolor. And I have gone through and compared all of the names and numbers, and they are exactly the same. Now, the 72 set of the Prismacolors may have the same colors as the 72 set of the Karismacolors. I don't remember, and I couldn't find in the short amount of time that I was looking. I'm quite sure it is out there, and I'm quite sure if I looked longer, I would have been able to find it. But I couldn't find in my scramble to do this video because my brain isn't working right. I couldn't find the 72 set chart. And like I said, I am pretty sure it's out there. I know it's out there because I've used it. However, I'm in a bit of a brain fog with everything that's going on right now and not at 110% of my best. So we have our yellows, which of course is a good range of yellow from a light yellow to a medium yellow to a dark yellow. And then we have our oranges. And we do have a good selection of orange into red. So we've got some light oranges, some medium oranges, a dark orange, and then we go into our red orange, which is the pale vermilion and the poppy red. And then we go into our reds. Now, in my opinion, there's not enough red, but that's just my opinion. I like more red. Of course, then we go into our light peach and our peach tones, into our pink tones, and then into our red violet tones, and into our red violet lighter tones, into our blue violet tones, and then into our blue tones. So we've got our dark blues, and I don't know why they put the cloud blue right in the middle like this, but that is where it is on the Prismacolor chart. Um, and then into our indigo, our non-photo blue, our true blues, and then into our teal and aqua blue and aqua greens. And then we go into our greens, and there is a huge selection of green. So whether it's a bright green all the way to the dirty greens, there is a really good selection of green. And then we go into our beige and into our brown tones. So we have light umber, and then we got more of the red brown tones here, and then our dark brown tones here. We have three of each of the grays, so 20, 50, and 70% of French gray, cool gray, and warm gray. Of course, we have our black, our silver, and our gold. So all in all, I do believe it's the exact same set that you would receive if you bought the Prismacolor 72 set. All right, so let's give a couple of different tests. So there's one test that everybody does with a Prismacolor because everybody uses the Prismacolor white as a highlight source. So I've got a black marker pad here, and we're going to use the Prismacolor white, which is Prismacolor 938. And as you can see, even the lettering on the Prismacolor that is manufactured in Mexico, it just doesn't adhere. It just doesn't seem to be as quality as you would expect from a high costing pencil. All right, so this is the Prisma. So I'm going to put a P there, and I'm going to start light. And I'm just going to do a couple of layers. And as we all know, a Prismacolor likes to be squashed. They like smooshing, so let's give a little bit of a smush. And we'll do a couple of layers of smushing. As you can see, there's a lot of debris coming off of the pencil. Because it is a very, very soft pencil, you're going to have a lot of debris coming off of them. So I'm going to grab I tried to blow it off, didn't work. So when all else fails, use your brush. I hear Evelyn's voice every single time. All right, so now we have the Karismacolor white. Now it is a thicker pencil in comparison. So let's put this down on the mat here. Now in comparison, let's see if I can find something to put up on top of it so you can see the difference. So I've got the sheet of paper here. So if I put the sheet of paper, it's of course curved, and let's try it with but anyway, if you look at the bottoms of the barrels, you can definitely see that the Prismacolor, which is this one here, is a little bit smaller in wood size. So it's thinner wood. I do believe the cores are at least close to the exact same size. The Karismacolor does look a small bit larger than the Prismacolor, but that may be a trick of the eye with the amount of wood. It's a heavier pencil than the Prisma, so it just feels a lot more quality than the Karismacolor. So let's do a K, and then we'll start off light. Be light, 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 light. Oh goodness. I think my tummy is saying that I should eat something. Okay, so that is the light, and that's the difference between the light of the Prisma and the light of the Karisma. Now I'm going to put the same amount of pressure as I did on the Prisma. And as you can see, it's not giving as much crumb. So I'm not getting as much dust as I did with the Prisma. Now it could be because this one is duller than my Prisma was, but I am still getting some crumb. I'm still getting dust. So it is still a really, really soft pencil. Like as you can see, it's been worn down very quickly just doing that. And we're going to dust that off. So as you can see, between the two of them, the Prisma and the Karisma, it is very, very close. Personally, I think the Karisma is a little bit wider than the Prisma. So with that being said, yeah, I personally feel that this one here is a little bit whiter than this one here. Not a lot, not enough that it would make a huge difference, but it just looks a little bit lighter. So that is the test of the white for the Prismacolor and the Karismacolor. Let's pull out some yellows. We're going to pull out some yellows from the Karismacolor and the Prismacolor. So we're going to grab canary yellow from both. And as you can see, the color is pretty close to the same. This one here is a little bit darker in barrel color than the Karismacolor. So there's our yellow, and we're going to grab, what red was it? Hold on a sec. Crimson red. That's the one I wanted. So there's crimson. So there's our yellow. Now we're going to grab our red. So I'm going to grab crimson. That's carmine. There's our crimson. And again, fairly close. This one here is definitely a darker barrel. Same number, 924, 924. All right. And then we're going to grab True Blue, which is over here. I think it's this one. Yep. And then we'll grab the True Blue out of here. Now this one I haven't even used. Still has the Prismacolor sharpen on it. Alright, so there is our True Blue. And the barrel color of this one is different than this one, which is interesting. They are the same, 903 and 903. Some of the Prismacolors have a silver marking, and some have more. Oh, I guess that's silver too. Some of the newer ones have a white marking instead of the silver. All right, so there is our blue, red, and yellow. And we're going to flip our lid here. And we're going to do our normal testing. So I've got my water brush here with water in it. And we will test for water resistance, because I won't say waterproof, because I have yet to find a pencil that is completely waterproof. If you scrub a pencil with water, you are going to get movement. Just saying. Alright, so let's start with our yellow. And we've got our Karismacolor here, which is, again, a canary yellow. And again, we're going to make sure that we get a good heavy layer so that it represents how it would be if we were just finished coloring it and we were going to be adding some liquid pearls, some, gel pen, anything that has a water base to it. Now, of course, there are some little bits there, so make sure that you dust it off. And now we're going to do the same thing with our Prismacolor, canary yellow. Again, the Prismacolor just feels really, really small in my hand, like really thin. It just feels not as heavy, I guess. A little bit cheaper. Really close to the same color. Pretty much exactly the same color. Alright, so there's our yellow. Now we're going to do our red. These are not sharpened when you receive them, so you will have to go through and sharpen your pencils. And for a 72 set, that's not too bad. But hand sharpening them was a bit of a pain, I must admit. Especially since I don't like hand sharpening, because my hand just jerks too much and I end up with broken pencils. But I wanted to give them the small sharpen that they're supposed to be used with. Alright, so there is our Karismacolor crimson. I'm going to dust that off. And here is our Karismacolor crimson. Again, just feels a lot thinner. In the hand. It's very close to the same color. I'm getting just about the same amount of saturation. As I did with the Karismacolor. exactly the same color between the two of them. And now for the Karismacolor True Blue. And because I have not sharpened the Prismacolor True Blue, I'm going to give it a quick turn in the sharpener, just to make sure that any wax bloom or anything like that has been removed, because I have not used this pencil since I purchased my set several years ago. So I'm just going to give it a couple of turns in the sharpener. Now I did find that the Prismacolor turns a lot nicer in the sharpener than the Karismacolor, and that may be just a harder wood on the Karismacolor compared to the wood on the Prismacolor. The Karismacolor definitely has a firmer wood. Alright, so both pretty much the same color. Alright, so comparing the two colors between the Karismacolor and the Prismacolor, they all look pretty much the same. Now we're going to take our water, and I'm going to get the water moving here. I'm not going to soak it. I'm just going to put a little bit of water on, and we're just going to try to move the pigment, wiping it off in between so that if it does pick up any pigment, it doesn't drag it to the next one. So the red does move a little bit. And the blue just a slight bit. Now I'm just going to drop another drop of water. Rinse off the brush. Make sure it's damp. And can't tell if that moved or doesn't look like it. Now the red does definitely move. About the same as the Karismacolor. Same with the blue. It definitely moves. You can tell because it's on the tip of my brush. Definitely does move, but like I said, about the same as the Karismacolor. So there is some movement with your Prismacolors and your Karismacolors with water. So make sure that you use your blender, whether it be the Caran d'Ache blender or the Prismacolor blender that has a heavy wax base, to blend your pencils before you put any water substance on top of them, and that will eliminate some of that bleed. Now we're going to do the same thing here with the Prismacolor and the Karismacolor for our smudge test. I almost threw that Prisma on the floor. That would be bad. So again, I'm going to go through. I'm going to put in a really good heavy layer of each pencil. This one is the Karismacolor Canary Yellow. I'm going to do all the same tests as I normally would do with any colored pencil set. I'm just going to do a comparison because of the fact that these are the Japanese version of the Prismacolor pencils. So I'm going to make sure that they are, what they say they are, that they are a version of the same core, the same colors, that sort of thing. Personally, they do feel a little bit heavier, a little bit more quality maybe in the wood. I, they are a harder wood to sharpen. I don't get as clean of a sharpen on them as I do with the Prismacolor in the Tagal. And I don't know if that's just because there wasn't enough wood there to sharpen on the Karismacolor because it was almost all the way sharpened, or if I have it at the wrong setting for this type of wood. Don't know if there's specific settings for wood types. Now I am layering this. I'm not smushing it on. I could definitely smush it on. They do feel a little bit harder than the Prismacolor. So I feel that they may hold their shape a little bit longer than the Prismacolor would. Just going to put a little bit more pressure just to get that saturation. I'm going to brush those off because this is the smudge test. I do want to make sure that there are no bits and pieces still hanging around. For the Karismacolor, we're going to push upwards and see if we can smudge it upwards. For the Prismacolor, we're going to pull downwards and see if it smudges. We know in our minds, in our hearts, in our previous colorings with Prismacolor that they do smudge. So make sure that you either put something under your hand as you're coloring, or when you come to the end of an area that you've colored and you're moving over it with your hand, that you burnish that area before going over it with your hand. Now, if you're not finished with that area, make sure that you have a piece of paper or a glove. Otherwise, your hand will move that pigment. Just filling that in. All right, so I've got about the same concentration on each spot. I've dusted off every bit of the extras. Make sure that there's nothing there. I've got a clean finger, and I'm not even gonna push hard. Well, actually, yeah, I am. I'm gonna push hard because when we rub our hand back and forth, it causes friction on the area. And make sure my hand is not picked up any color. The red moves a little bit. And the blue, not really. A little tiny bit, but not a lot. That blue moved quite a bit more. And so did the red. And so did the yellow. So they do move. The red definitely moves. The yellow moved a little bit and the blue moved just a tiny, tiny bit. But if you look at the Prismacolors, all of them moved. You have movement between all of the colors. Quite a bit more than with the Karismacolor. So they're a bit of a softer wax in the Prismacolor than the Karismacolor. And that's what causes the movement is either a higher pigmentation or a softer wax. All right, so we're going to do our rainbow first since we have the pencils out. So let's start with our red. And this is the Karismacolor. I'm not going to do the rainbow with the Karismacolor. I'm just going to do it with the Karismacolor. I just wanted to do those comparisons as well as the white comparison. I also wanted to compare the thickness of the core, the thickness of the barrel, and the type of wood that is used. Because there is a difference in the type of wood. The wood in the Karismacolors are from Japan, where the wood in the Prismacolors are from Mexico. Now, as you can see, with just going over it with the yellow is picking up the red. And that's because I didn't dust it off, which is fine because I want to drag that red into the yellow. However, if you don't want to drag that red into the yellow, make sure that you dust off your colors. If you want to go from yellow to the proper yellow, go from your orange yellow to your proper yellow, make sure that you wipe it off. Now we are going to go from yellow to blue. So I'm going to do this area here thicker and this area here thinner. And then we're going to go over top of this just to get that orange gradients there. And then we're going to go over the yellow with the blue. And I may need to go over a little bit with the yellow just to blend that in. But there is definitely a green there. I'm just going to go over it just to give it that extra little bit of green tone. Definitely creates the rainbow. So we have our red, orange, yellow, green, and blue. So that definitely does work well. Now for our continued gradients, let's do this in greens today. So let's grab a couple of different greens here. So we're going to start with olive green. Now this may not be the best gradient tones, but let's give it a try. So we're going to verify that they will blend together and create some kind of gradients. And I'm off screen, sorry guys. So I've got olive green here, which is a dark green. I didn't even look at the chart, I should have. So I'm putting a couple of different layers down here, making sure that they're fairly dark, leaving plenty of tail here for it to blend into. And then we're going to take our medium green, which is apple green. We're going to go into that dark, and we're going to come out of it. And we're going to leave plenty of tail for that next color to go into. Now I'm just going to go over it again with the dark just to clean up any white spot that's there between the two colors. Basically what the tail does is it gives you the color to grab into to move into your next color. So it doesn't give you a really extremely stark transition from one color to the next. All right, so now we have our spring green, which is our lightest color. And again, I'm not pressing overly hard, and I'm coming right into that tail and extending it out. And then we're going to take our medium green and we're just going to fill in some of that white spot between the two colors. So it did a really nice gradient green there. Actually, I'm really quite surprised just pulling the three colors from the set. I didn't even, you know, I just picked three that were in a row because spring green, apple green, and olive green, they're all in a row. So I just pulled those three out of the row and moved on with it. So I'm kind of impressed. Pretty impressed that they are actually in a row and can be just pulled right out all together and done for a fairly nice gradients. Impressive. All right, so let's do our blender pencil test here. So I'm going to use crimson. Nah, let's do a pink. Let's do some pink. So I'm just going to grab three colors in a row again. I haven't even looked at the colors. So we have process red, pink, and blush pink. And these are, like I said, the same as this in a row. So we're going to start with our darkest, which is our process red. And we're going to do this blend, we're going to blend this to eliminate the white spot with our Caran d'Ache blender. We're also going to blend it with the white because that's one thing a lot of people really like to do, and sometimes I like to as well. The one thing about doing it with a white is you will find that white will dampen your color a bit, especially when you have a very opaque white like the Prismacolor or the Karismacolor. If you have a very translucent white, so if you put your white down on some black and it looks kind of gray, or you can see the black through it, that's very translucent, and that's not going to change the color of what you're blending as much as if you were to put your white on a black and have it look stark white. It's still going to change it a little bit, but not as much. All right, so this one here is Rose. That's going to be our medium tone. I'm going over our tail. So this is where that color is going to combine to gradient against the dark. And then we're going to move it out. I left a really long tail there, but that's okay. Gives us a good medium tone between the two. Now the one thing about the Caran d'Ache blender that you do need to remember is that you want to have plenty of color on the page. Otherwise your blender will just pick up your pencil. Alright, so now we're going in with blush pink. So we have our process red, our pink, and our blush pink. So there is a really good transition there, going from light to, or dark to light. You can definitely see the gradient move. Alright, now I'm going to brush this off and make sure that my Caran d'Ache is clean. And then we're just going to blend it down. So definitely gets a good blend going there. Now the dust that you see there is mostly the blender. I didn't get a lot of lift up of the color, which is actually really good. So as you can see on the blender, there's not any major buildup of wax, which is good. All right, so let's do the same thing, but we'll use a white blender for it. So we're going to start with our process red. And we're going to give a bit of a tail here. This area here, I want to have the most process red. And that area there is going to be mixed with the pink. All right, now we're going to take our pink. We're going to go into our process red. Go back into actual pink. Put down the tail. This part here I want to stay pink. This part here is going into the process red. And that part we're going to blend into the blush pink. Like so. Now we're going to take our white, and this is the white Karismacolor, and we're going to move from light to dark. And the reason for this is because if it's going to pick up any of your color, you want the lighter color to instead of the darker color, because then it's just going to drag that dark color everywhere. And it definitely blended. As you can definitely see though, in your darker colors here, you lose quite a bit of that bright color, but it does transition really, really nicely. But that does pick up a little bit of color on your white. Make sure that you wipe that off. Otherwise, the next time you go to use your white, it's going to have red on it, which sucks. And of course, we do have crumbing from that. All right, so let's talk cost. The Karismacolors are more expensive. The Karismacolors are $114.02. That is with shipping. So that is all together to Oregon, because shipping is different no matter different depending upon where you live. So with shipping, it comes out to $1.58 per pencil because there's only 72 in the set and it's $114.02. Prismacolor currently is, I have a listing on Amazon currently for $115 with an 8% off coupon, bringing it down to $106.71. Divided by 150 pencils, because you do get 150 pencils in that set, it comes out to 71 cents per pencil. So that is quite a big difference in price. So they are the same color. The Karismacolor does feel heavier. They do seem to have a better trying to think of the word here, quality to them than the Prismacolor. The Karismacolor is heavy, like it just feels better in the hand than the Karismacolor. They do sharpen pretty much the same. I do find the Karismacolor easier to sharpen in the Tagal than the Karismacolor. The Karismacolor is a little bit firmer of a wood and does require a little bit more turning than the Karismacolor. So here's my Karisma. There's my sharpen on it. It's kind of dull. Yes, I know you're supposed to turn the sharpener, not the pencil. But as you can see, it's not as cleanly sharpened as the Prismacolor would be. So I'm going to use my other sharpener. Where is it? There it is. Just to clean it up a little bit. I think my blade and my Tagal might be getting a little dull as well, which doesn't help. So with this sharp blade, you can see it sharpens quite smoothly. So I think it may be that my Tagal is dull. So I may need a new blade for my Tagal. I'm not sure. I am not sure. Let's turn it up a notch. Maybe that'll help. Yeah, that's better. So I just turned it up a notch and it worked a little better. Alright, so that is basically the conclusion of the testing of these pencils. I have spent a little bit more time on them than I normally do because of the fact that they are so similar to the Prismacolors that I wanted to make sure that the information was out there that these are definitely a something that you can replace your Prismacolors with and still have the same colors. So I'm going to do a quick little bit on the swatch chart here in coloring. So I've got the process red here, and we already know that the process red, the pink, and the blush pink do a really nice combination. They blend well and gradient very nicely. So we're going to use that combination, but we're going to add a bit of, where is it? I think it's peach. Yes. We're going to add a bit of peach to it just to give us a bit of a highlight area. So these are very, very smooth, very soft. Now, if you already have Prismas like I do, and you purchase the Karismas, you know what I'm going to do with mine? I'm currently going to shelf them until I am, well, depending, because I'm not very fond of my Prismacolors. I like the way they lay down, but I don't like having all of the breakage, and I don't like the crumbing and the splitting that I get. So if you've never experienced this, I hope you never do. But I get something with my Prismas I call splitting or cracking. And what I see when that happens is quite literally what it sounds like. When I've finished an area and left it, say I'm coloring at night, I'm ready for bed, I'm finished coloring a certain area, so I'm going to bed. And if I leave it on my desk, whether it's open or closed, and come back to it in the morning, I find that the everything I've colored is fractured. It's got little cracks in it. You can see all the tooth of the paper through it, even if I blended it. And it just looks like it just sunk into the paper. And I have to go over it again with either the blender or with the colors to get them to be as vibrant as they were when I went to bed. Now, if I have to continually recolor something because it's lost its vibrancy, I'm going to be very, very irritated with that set of pencils. And that's one of the reasons why I'm not fond of Prismacolors, because I can color something and it looks absolutely gorgeous. It looks like it's going to turn out so nice. And then I go to bed and the next day have to color it all over again, or blend it or burnish it all over again when I just did so, which just aggravates me. So I will keep an eye on this um, coloring for, until tomorrow. And tomorrow I'll take a look at it again. And I'm not even going to blend it or anything beyond blending it with the peach tone that I'm going to blend it with here in just a minute. But I'm not going to blend with a blender pencil or anything that will change the pencil themselves. I'm just going to blend them with the peach. So I'm just moving those colors together and blending them out with the peach tone. And tomorrow I will see if that tooth has come back up through the paper or through the pigment, or if I still have a really nice pretty blend. Because if that's the case, I may replace the 72 Prismacolors with the Karismacolors and use them instead of the Prismacolors, or use them with the Prismacolors. Now, unfortunately, I have not been able to find the full, I think they say 117 Karismacolor set. If I do find that, you will be the first to know. Well, other than me. Um, and I will let you know where to find them. Like I said, these I found on Amazon Japan. They do have them on eBay. However, on eBay they are quite a bit more expensive because the eBay sellers are trying to sell them as antique Karismacolors. And they are not an antique if they have been manufactured in the past, 50 years or something like that. So they're definitely not the vintage or the antique Karismacolors. They are a new set that has been manufactured recently. I'm not going to say they're a new product because I don't know how long they've been producing them in Japan. But they do blend very, very nicely together. I was able to get them to completely blend where you don't see any harsh lines or anything like that. You do see a nice convergence of colors together, which is typical of the Prismacolor cores. So I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to leave this alone until tomorrow, and I will take a look at it again tomorrow and see if that cracking happens with these the way that it happens with the Prismacolors. With that, all together, all in all, I think that they do feel like a much higher quality set. The wood, the weight, the feel of the pencil themselves does feel higher quality than the Mexico produced Prismacolors. They are the same colors, they are the same numbers, they are the same names. So they are definitely the information that Sarah Renee Clark has is very, very accurate of the fact that Prismacolor still owns Prismacolor, and they have basically leased the information to a third-party manufacturer in Japan, um, who has manufactured a set of Prismacolors called Karismacolor for the Japanese market. Now, with that being said, it's not that you can't get them here. However, you would have to order them from the Japanese market to bring them here. I know Sarah was able to find them on Australian Amazon as well under the Karismacolor name, the same as they are on the Amazon Japan. And I don't, I have looked on Amazon US, but sometimes even if you look or you type everything in you can possibly think of, sometimes it doesn't come up. Um, I have also looked on Amazon or on AliExpress, and the best price I was able to find between eBay, Amazon, and AliExpress was on Amazon Japan. So, with that being said, I want to say thank you all very much for watching. I hope this has been informational or at least entertaining. I'm going to switch you over to the main screen here so you can get a good look at the entire swatch chart. Again, like I said, they are the 72 Karismacolor. These are basically the exact same as your Prismacolor 72s. I just feel that they are a better quality in their manufacturing, which may make it worth having them. The price point is a little bit of a deal breaker. I don't think I'd buy them again at this price point. If they came down in price, maybe, or if they provided more colors, maybe. But at the price point themselves, I'm going to wait until this test is done to verify whether or not they do the same thing that the Prismacolors do when I color with them. Alright guys, with that being said, always remember to like, comment, and subscribe to any YouTube artist that you enjoy. Not only does this help us out with our self-esteem, but it also helps us out with our analytics. So the analytics are when YouTube watches our likes and our dislikes and whether or not people are watching our video over and over again to decide whether or not other people are going to enjoy it. So if there are plenty of likes or plenty of dislikes, even if you dislike the video, that helps as well. I would rather you like it, but you could hit the dislike and be helpful as well. But basically, for every time that somebody, uh, for a certain amount of likes or a certain amount of dislikes, the more people the YouTube algorithm will send over to view what you have done. Okay, with that. All right. Again, I would like to say thank you very much to the absolutely wonderful Random Act of Kindness Fairy from our Facebook group that sent me this cute little matchstick mouse autumn coloring book. I appreciate you. And of course, with that, always remember to relax, color, and stay safe, everyone. Until next time, bye bye for now.